Hello, welcome back for our flow portion of the yoga that we did last night at Ashley's Navarro Training and Fitness gym. From here, we're going to start in tabletop. So this is tabletop. You've got your ankles, elbows, and shoulders stacked, and you have your hips and knees stacked. My feet are tops of the feet on the ground. If you need to, if you have maybe issues with your feet and they're cramping, you can always tuck them if that's a little bit more comfortable for you. But from here, this tabletop position, we started with tabletop cat-cow. So to do this with an inhale, we drop our belly, gaze up, chin up. And on an exhale, we go into cat, where we round our back, tuck our chin, and really lift up through the shoulders. And reverse each inhale up, exhale down. Keep going to the pace of your own breath here. Take as many as you'd like. Just go ahead and pause the video and take as many of these as you'd like. We did go through a few variations as well. One is to look over each side, really curving your body in the shape of a C. Inhaling and exhaling at your own pace. The other is to do circles with your ribs. It's kind of hard to see in the video. I'll ankle a little bit, but you can see instead of just a straight up and down, I'm really bending to the side and drawing full circles with my rib cage. So both of those are really good options if you want a little bit more movement in your spine to warm up. But we always come back to this tabletop position. And this tabletop position is where we're going to start for our next little session, which is threading the needle. So I like to put my hand a little bit more in front of my face, a little bit more centered in my chest. If you need a little bit more space, some bodies, just the way they're anatomically look with your ribs and your shoulders, you might need more space. You can keep your hand out a little bit if you'd like. I like mine a little centered, but play around with it. But I always start with my right hand centered, left hand should be loose. Inhale, stretch it up, follow the fingertips with your gaze. Exhale, thread the needle through. Again, follow the fingertips with your gaze. Inhale up and exhale through. I like to do at least 3 of these. Pace of your own breath. Pause the video if you'd like to do more. On your final exhale, drop that shoulder all the way down. Drop your temple or cheek, your left temple or cheek to the mat. And feel free to do whatever you'd like with this right hand. Maybe you plant it, maybe kickstand, maybe it's closer. But just find some comfort here, really hold. And here we're stretching out this left shoulder. And when you're ready on the next inhale, come back to center. You can balance out by stretching all the way up again and then coming back down if you'd like. And then we reverse. Plant our left hand, take that right, gaze follows fingertips, exhale through. Inhale up, exhale through. Do as many of these as you'd like. Pause the video here if you'd like. And again, drop all the way down, temple or cheek to the floor. And see, we try to keep this stacked where our hips and our knees are still stacked. You might find that you're dipping back, maybe stretching forward, but just be conscious of where your body is positioned, how you're kind of stacking up. Hold here for as many breaths as you'd like. And when you're ready, push yourself up. Return to center, and again, you can balance out if you like. Stretch all the way back up and then down. But that was thread the needle, and from here we dropped into child's pose. My knees are hip width apart right now. Traditional child's pose, I would just push straight back and drop my forehead to the mat. Stretch my arms out. I'm going to move forward a little bit so you can kind of see my hips. My hips are on my ankles, or I'm sorry, my heels. Yours might be a little bit more like this, depending on how tight you are. Maybe you're all the way up here, but the goal here is to really be stretching out this back. So you want to be like a nice straight line, stretching that back out, finding some space for your shoulders, wherever you're at. And the other option for this, I'll return to tabletop to show you how to get in here. Make your big toes touch, big toes are touching, and my knees are spreading all the way out to the width of the mat. So what this looks like from the front, instead of being hip width apart, big toes are touching, knees are spread. Then I drop all the way back and stretch out. So from the side, I'm stacked, knees are touching, or toes are touching, knees are out the width of my mat, push myself back and down. And this is wide knee child's pose. I found, even still, after decades of yoga, it's more comfortable for me sometimes to face one side or the other. Just be sure you even it out. Don't keep looking one side unless you have medical reason for doing so. Yoga is all about balance, and we want to make sure we do balance it out. This wide knee child's pose, you can really get your chest lower to the mat. It gives you a little bit more room for your hips. So this is a really good one if you want to just go a little deeper than traditional child's pose allows. Child's pose is a restorative pose, so always know that you can take that at any time during any yoga class if you need a little bit of a break or just want to take a minute to compose yourself. After that child's pose, when you're ready, take as many breaths there as you'd like. Play around with the traditional or wide knee, see what feels best for you. But from there, we push back into our down dog. So our down dog, again, we want to have our knees hip widths apart, stacked under our hips. Our feet, we start out with them tops to the mat, and hands are under our shoulders here. You can play around with stretching out your wrists here if you feel like you need to, if they're a little tight. But from here, I like to start with down dog. Tuck your toes for first thing. And on an inhale, really push against the mat and see that rounding in the top of my shoulders here. And exhale, release. So do a couple of these just to start to feel that sensation in your shoulders. And note, you don't want your shoulders to be up by your ears. You want to have a lot of space here between the ear and the shoulder. So drop them back, but as you push away, you should really feel like your shoulders engaging, almost like you're doing like a little mini push-up. And so once you've done a couple of those and you're feeling good about that, on the next inhale, push up, and this time just hover your knees just about an inch or two above the mat, and exhale down. Do that a few more times, holding for as long as you want, and you can hold this for like 10 breaths if you'd like, and push back down. This is really warming us up in preparation for our down dog. And just scoot a little bit more forward so you can really see this posture. But for the full down dog on an inhale, again, we're going to push up and send our hips all the way back. Now, everyone's down dog is going to look a little bit different because everybody's body is built a little bit different. So I like to have my feet hip width apart, and same with my hands. But you can play around. Maybe take a wider stance here. Maybe come closer for a more intense stretch. Maybe a little further apart. Whatever you'd like. Really play around. This, again, should be a restorative posture. So if you're finding this is a really uncomfortable posture for you to be in, you probably need to make some tweaks. Also, your heels might not be on the ground. That's totally fine. I actually like to pedal my heels out, especially if it's my first down dog of the day. Maybe both. Another thing that I really love here is once you're comfortable, if you want to play around with your down dog a little bit, you can start doing leg lifts on inhales. The only thing you want to be careful of if you're doing leg lifts is you want to keep your hips squared, which might mean that you're not lifting as high. So when my hips are squared, I'm about here. If I get my hips out of alignment, I can go a lot higher, and it looks like more impressive, but it's not in alignment. That's not actually what we want. So try to keep your hips in alignment, keep them squared to the mat. You won't go as high, but that's okay. You're kind of staying in position, which is what you want. Keeping integrity of the pose. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, on an inhale you can lift, exhale, lower, tap your knee to your elbow. Again, lift, exhale, tap the knee to the nose or chin. Inhale, lift, exhale, tap to the other elbow. Inhale, lift, exhale, back to center. On the other side, I like to balance it out, same thing. Inhale, lift, exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, lift, exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, lift, exhale, knee to other elbow. Inhale, lift, knee to nose, and return. You can do as many of those as you want. That's an amazing workout. I really love that one. And from our down dog, we just dropped right back to tabletop. So this is a really comfortable way to find our way back to, even if we're doing a standing Tadasana pose, just stand right up here. Week 1, we did do a full sun salutation. So if you want to see what that looks like, I'll be going through that now. And then we'll wrap up what we did for our flow last night. So the full sun salutation, if you were here for week 1, or if you're interested in learning that for your own practice, on an inhale, root your eyes, arms above the head, make sure you drop your shoulders. Exhale, deep bend in the knees to forward fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, back to plank, and you don't have to hop, you can step back. Exhale, take your chaturanga of your choice. I do the full chaturanga down, up dog, push back into down dog. But take the full vinyasa of your choice. I'll give you an option, I'll run through it again. And from here, once you're in down dog, gaze through your hands. Next inhale, come back to center. Again, you don't have to hop, you can step. And inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, return to center. Now I'll show you another option for the vinyasa if you don't have that full chaturanga yet. Inhale, lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, you can hop back, or an option would be to step back into tabletop maybe. Maybe take a cat-cow here and then push back into down dog. Maybe from your forward fold, you want to just slowly lower yourself and tabletop. You can even push back into child's pose, back to tabletop. You don't even have to take a full down dog if you don't want to. Then find your way back up to your forward fold. So you definitely have options with that one, but that sun salutation is something I personally do at least 8 times every morning. 8 is kind of a magic number in yoga, so if you can do anything 8 times, even 8 breaths in a certain pose, just try it. It's a good number to try. And most things, if you do them 8 times, you'll really feel them and really start to get the benefit of the stretch or the workout and the movement. So speaking of, our final kind of positions in that peak part of our routine last night was from standing. This is our Tadasana mountain pose, standing basically. But it's standing with engagement. Your feet can be hip width apart, but play around, wider, narrower, whatever works best for your body. Really root your feet into your mat. Follow your attention up from your feet to your calves, to your knees, to your thighs, to your hips, your abdomen, your ribs, your shoulders, your arms, hands forward. Inhale, really stretch that spine up. Crown of your head reaches towards the sky. Gaze is soft ahead of you. But this is a very engaged stance now. It should feel different than maybe how you started. You've got a lot of presence and energy in this stance from here. And from here, we're going to push back into chair pose. And again, everyone's chair is going to look different. Your chair might be here, your chair might be here. I can't hold this one for very long. Mine's somewhere in the middle, like here. But wherever you're at in your chair, I'll actually do a little side here so you can kind of see this motion. We're going to do that same cat-cow motion, but just with our arms from chair. So if being in chair is too intense, feel free to just do the arms standing in Tadasana. But from your chair, if you're comfortable here, inhale, sweep our arms back to airplane, really pushing our collarbones out and up, lifting our gaze. And exhale, sweep up. Inhale, airplane. Exhale, up. Inhale, airplane. Exhale, up. Maybe bringing a little bit of a roundness to the back when we go back up. Finding as much movement here as you'd like. If the arms are too intense but you want to stay in chair, feel free to bring hands to heart center in a prayer here. But just play around here. Chair is amazing. You can also introduce some twists into your chair. This is really great. It's a little easier if you have your knees together. A little more of a challenge to try to keep them apart. Starting with a block helps. But chair's great, super fun, great workout. Play around there, have some fun. And when you're ready to come out of that chair pose, airplane arms sequence, we'll meet back up at the top of our mat for our final peak pose that we did. And this is kind of a sneaky arm workout. It doesn't seem like much, but do it enough times, you will totally feel it, especially the next day. So from standing, inhale, arms up, exhale, cactus. This is great upper chest stretch. Inhale, arms up, exhale, twist to the right, and gaze goes over the right hand. Inhale up, exhale, cactus. Inhale up, exhale, reverse your twist to the left, gaze over the left. Inhale up, exhale, cactus. Inhale up, exhale, twist right. Keep repeating this at your own pace. Inhales are always up, exhales are always down. Try to keep those hips squared to the front of the mat. When you twist, or maybe it feels good for you to have a little bit more twist in your hips. That's fine, you can go for that, it's your practice. Whatever feels good to your body, just be mindful of it. Also, drop those shoulders. That's one thing, probably you never want to have your shoulders up by your ears. Very common, natural, but drop those shoulders. Most people, that feels a lot better. They just need to be reminded. So here's your reminder. Drop your shoulders. Keep going for as long as you want. You really will feel this if you keep going. Just totally all up in your biceps. It's a great one. Keep going there as long as you want. Next video is going to be the cool down. So thank you for watching this one, learning some of these poses and pose names. And I will be right back with the cool down.